In this podcast episode, Matias De Stefano and Robert Grant discuss various topics, including past lives, free will, and the Philosopher's Stone. They explore the idea that we are not who we think we are, and that the only objective truth is the interconnectedness of all things. De Stefano explains that reality is a wave created by frequency and vibration, and that we are all part of a larger symphony of existence. He also discusses the concept of duality and the need to find harmony in the chaos of life. Grant adds to the discussion by emphasizing the importance of recognizing that we have more control over our lives than we realize. He talks about the concept of awakening and how it involves a series of softenings that turn pain into purpose. He also delves into the idea of reflection and absorption, explaining how our experiences are influenced by our conscious and unconscious minds, as well as collective unconscious forces. The conversation also touches on the concept of destiny and free will, with Grant suggesting that destiny is the free will of the higher self. He shares his belief that there is no such thing as randomness, and that every event is part of a larger pattern that we may not fully understand. De Stefano adds to this by discussing the complexity of individual and collective perspectives and how they contribute to the greater wisdom of the universe. The guests also address the idea of chaos and the interconnectedness of all things. They discuss the importance of humility in facing the mystery of existence and the need to recognize both individual perspectives and universal values and principles. They also touch on the concept of moral equivalency and the importance of acknowledging the differences between actions and experiences. The conversation then shifts to the initiatic path and the Philosopher's Stone, which is described as a symbol of love and wisdom. De Stefano explains the ancient stories and myths that illustrate the concept of unity and separation, emphasizing the need to balance the positive and negative aspects to find harmony. They also discuss the significance of the third eye and the role of the throat chakra in finding balance and harmony. The guests draw on various mythological and historical references, such as the story of Odin and the left eye of Horus, to illustrate the importance of balancing different perspectives and accessing the third eye. They also explore the physical aspects of the brain and the connection between the pineal and pituitary glands in achieving enlightenment. The conversation continues with a discussion of the Philosopher's Stone as represented by a perfect triangle, symbolizing the overlap of the sun and the moon. This triangle is described as a representation of the perfect balance and harmony that leads to enlightenment. The conversation also touches on the concept of free will and how it relates to the choices we make in our lives. The guests explore the idea that free will is not just about making choices in the present, but also about understanding the consequences of those choices and how they may be influenced by past life experiences. They discuss the role of free will in shaping our destiny and the importance of taking responsibility for our actions. De Stefano and Grant draw parallels between the Philosopher's Stone and the concept of balance and transformation. They explore the symbolism of the Philosopher's Stone as a metaphor for inner alchemy and the process of integrating light and dark aspects of the self. The Philosopher's Stone is seen as a tool for achieving balance and enlightenment, and the discussion delves into the significance of finding the spark within oneself amidst conflict and darkness. The conversation also touches on the recent eclipse and its significance in relation to the themes of balance and transformation. De Stefano shares his experiences during the eclipse and discusses the symbolic meaning of eclipses as portals for facing inner darkness and finding clarity. He emphasizes the importance of embracing the shadows within oneself and finding the spark of enlightenment amidst conflict and chaos. The discussion continues with a focus on shame and vulnerability, drawing from the biblical story of Adam and Eve. Adam's experience of shame quickly turns into blame, highlighting the human tendency to shift uncomfortable emotions onto others. The guests explore the concept of vulnerability and its impact on human behavior, particularly in relationships and decision-making. The conversation then shifts to the personal experiences of the guests, with De Stefano sharing his journey to Italy and the profound realizations he had during his travels. He reflects on receiving an honor from the country of Montenegro and the significance of the date, which coincided with the historical events related to the Knights Templar. Grant shares his experiences in Egypt, particularly in the Great Pyramid, where he had profound realizations about the symbolism of the Celtic cross and the story of Hercules. He discusses the significance of the Alpha Omega symbol and its connection to the Emerald Tablets, as well as the themes of time cycles and non-duality. The conversation then delves into the Arthurian legends and the symbolism of the Round Table, Excalibur, and the North Pole. De Stefano shares his interpretation of the story, connecting it to the precession of the equinoxes and the symbolism of the sword in the stone. He also discusses the role of mythology in shaping cultural narratives and the importance of understanding the deeper meanings behind these stories. Throughout the podcast, the guests emphasize the importance of understanding and integrating mythological symbolism, ancient wisdom, and personal experiences to gain a deeper understanding of the human journey. They encourage listeners to explore the interconnectedness of different narratives and symbols and to seek the underlying truths that transcend time and culture.